It's kind of like you take a little bit of Zappa, you take a little bit of Bowie, you take a nice healthy scoop of the Lebowski, and then you take a little, bit of Jack Black, and this is what you get.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of To Audiophiles, you bastard. My name's John. His name is Andy. DJ Soul was on a roll. I've been told he can't be solved. Not vicious or malicious, just lovely and delicious. I couldn't ask for another. More on that later. But first, we've got a track to listen to. Andy, what have you got in store for us today?
I'm gonna have you check out a very interesting artist that goes by the moniker Steel Beans, and a track by them, called Stowaway. So I imagine Steel Beans, that doesn't, ring any bells for you, does it?
No.
Excellent. All right. Well, we mostly like our beans baked and not steel anyway, but go off and give this thing a spin and let me know what you made of Stowaway.
Interesting start. I mean, from the sound of it, I did fear that it could be some sort of sci-fi space rock opera, which it doesn't appear to be. Phew. Um, so yeah, I got this interesting sound, this sort of fuzzy main guitar riff that's almost a bit sort of glam rocky in the way it struts. Really not, and it there's a really nice beat, and it sort of fits with it really well. Interlaces, I guess, would be the word. And on top of that, there's a second lead guitar, which is sort of noodling and doing it sort of like squealy goodness over the top. And it all sounds really nice. Enter singer. Interesting look. It kind of there's a touch of the Rick Wakeman about um, wrapped up in Baco foil. It's a bold look, is all I can say. Um, yeah, I'll try not to concentrate on that. I would say I was slightly underwhelmed by the vocals when they came in. Because there's a fairly sturdy and muscular sound to this, with a bit of sort of posturing to it, and then it's fairly sort of tepid vocals coming over the top. But it may all change, so we'll see how it progresses.
Designated driver, I'm the stowaway of time and space. And I'm sitting down from the sky, although you know it's alright under your face. The anti-paradise where you
So that was a really there's a bit to unpack here. So after that, I guess it was a chorus bit. We had a bit that was almost like a bridge, and regular viewers will know my feelings on bridges. Most of them are shite. They break up the song, break momentum, do this quirky little bit the musicians all like, but actual listeners, could do without. And this wasn't an exception. The way he sang, I think it was the anti-paradise, the tone of it, it reminded me of like an early Alex Turner when he's deliberately trying to sound like a smartass and anti-paradise. Yeah. But yeah, there's a sort of archness quality to the tone of it. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it. Hands down. But then they went to the sort of main verse like before came back and it was bigger. And I guess that kind of proves my point that it has to be bigger because you just stopped all momentum of the song to get people back on track. And there's a piano chopping away in there as well, which sounded nice and filled things out. So the main body of the song, the those really nice sort of glammy fuzz guitars, and then this the noodling of the top's really nice as well, and the drumming's particularly decent. Fits well. There's some little fills going on there. Nothing like ice dance spectacular, but pretty good. And then he went into a kind of a solo there, but it's so brief. It was like a wah guitar sound, and then something else was accompanying it, which almost sounded like a synthetic approximation of a steel drum. This sort of sort of metallic sound. It was nice. It was really. Let's see if we can get it back. I think he was arsing around in the water with his axe. There we go. Try not to look at the screen because it's quite off-putting. We've gone longer. That bit there, which is on the designated driver and the stowaway of time and space, I think it was. That reminds me of something as well, another artist. But helpfully, I can't remember who it is. On with the action. Interesting. I got the feeling at the end that I don't know whether he wants to be Jack White or Jack Black, because there's some elements of this that are trying to be sort of White Stripes-ish or that whole Bond theme that he did that was awful. And the other bits, though, well, there's clearly some humour in there, but it's a real tightrope he's walking, where you can, if you put too much humour in something, you can fall into parody. And even the bit of him flying away at the end and the planet exploding just made me think more of Tenacious D um, than anything else. So yeah, interesting. So I would say there's a really nice sound to it. Um, the guitars are great and the drumming as well. Not so keen on the singer's vocals in parts. When he gave it a bit of oomph, it sounded better. And the sort of bridgy parts were I didn't enjoy at all. So, some bits good, some bits bad, in my humble opinion. So I've got a clue about steel beans. So we need to go back and chop it at Andy and find out some more. So let's do just that.
All right, so you have returned from being stowed away. What did you make of the track by Steel Beans?
So first off, I will try to avoid commenting on the accompanying video to this song.
That's part of the
Um,
charm.
Except to say that the visual get-up of the protagonist featuring this maybe ill-advised. He looks like Rick Wakeman in a bizarre suicide pact with a turkey, wrapped up in the self-basting Baco 4 jumpsuit and ready to face the oven of fate. Having said that, the Rick Wakeman iconography is contemporaneous to the sounds of this track. We're musically thrown back to a land full of evil Knievel stunt bikes, metallic alien robots eating instant mashed potatoes, and institutionalized racism cruising the streets in full capris. Thankfully, nowadays, only the cars have changed. So I digress. The song begins with gently breaking waves and screeching gulls that lull us into the opening chords of a expansive, fuzzed-out guitar. It could easily be the overture to a sci-fi rock opera. Thankfully, it wasn't. Praise the Colonel. There is a nice groove to the opening of this, actually. The way the guitar riffs kind of match the drumming patterns, really pleasing. It kind of interlocks. There's kind of a glam rock feel to the riff,
Yeah,
actually.
it's
The way it sort of struts. And then there's an additional guitar which is kind of peacocking over the top. And again, I like that sort of shit. Truth be told, though, I didn't really think that much to the vocals when they joined. They seemed a little low key and underwhelming compared to the sort of more corporeal nature of the music. And as such, the lyrics kind of floated over my attention for a bit. I heard the lines, "I'm the designated driver, I'm the stowaway of time and space," which brought back my sci-fi rock opera fears. He kind of sings this with a bit more gusto, and it's much more effective when he does that. When he drops back down to the sort of beginning of verses, I don't like his voice so much. It's not a major thing. It's just I think the two that's more effective. But he's got to have some light and shade, I guess. So
Yeah.
can't be screaming all the time. We get some nice action with the guitars and drums at this point. It's kind of like a refrain, but there's a set pattern for the song which sort of repeats. So I'm not sure what is chorus, pre-chorus, verse, whatever. Pretty sure that first bit is a verse, and I think this is kind of like a refrain or a chorus. But yeah, the drums and the guitars in particular are really nice. They sort of break and kick back in again. And then a not unexpected sort of high note guitar accent of the word space that sort of warbles through. Yeah, really nice. I get a couple more lines in the same style, and then it kind of gives way to this. I don't know what it is, post-chorus, pre-verse section that, if I was being unkind, I would say smacks of bridge-like qualities to my ears. The thing that I don't like about it is there's this kind of archness to the tone, this sort of almost smug knowingness. And it's kind of like a midway through, it's like if you're midway through a decent story with a narrator and they turn to you after telling you the story and go, "Riddle me this. My first is in arse, but not in wipe," and you think, "Oh, fucking hell." So the singer says something about the anti-paradise and the planet turning to ice before defrosting in hell, I think. Musically, I guess it breaks things up for the ADHD listener, but for me, it kind of it halts momentum in the song. So that's why I don't like it, and I'm sure lots of people do. Next verse comes back in, and it comes back in with added gusto, which kind of proves my point, as the band feel that they need more oomph to get you back on track. That's my take anyway. I hear piano chords sort of chopping into this, which could add added bounce to the track as well. And the singer finishes with the lines "Watch me explode," that explode stretches into a musical interlude. Um, Very brief musical interlude, unfortunately. The rhythm guitar continues with that glam rock riff, and the lead guitar starts to noodle with these kind of almost wire-infused notes. But it also seems this guitar to have befriended some sort of synthetic chum who's doing their best impersonation of a steel drum. There's these wonderful metallic notes that are quite extraordinary sounds that kind of emerge and overlap the guitar noodling notes. Sadly, it only lasts, I don't know, 10 seconds or something. And I would really dearly love them to explore that further. So I thought that was really interesting and something I'd not really heard before. And I thought it was pretty successful as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, if they would have explored that, but moving on. So the vocals return. It says something like showing up for a sword fight with a gun, which is a good thing, I think. Um, you know, and then it moves through the phases and the gears to that designated driver stowaway phase again. And at this point, the layering sort of builds and builds, and the additional guitar does some really lovely licks over the top here. That's just really quite beautiful. We go back through that bridge section. It does strike me the second time listening to this, the way he sings the anti Paradise, it really reminded me, particularly the second time, of early Alex Turner when he
Oh,
deliberately wants to sound kind of smart ass. You
yeah.
get the anti-paradise, you could just imagine him singing it. It's really funny. Um, During this bit, the actual drumming really sort of captures me there. It sounds great. Probably was the first time, but I was too pissed off for the rest of it to listen properly. We recycle through that section that ends "Watch Me Explode." And there are layers upon layers of sound now. And I particularly like the screaming guitar, quite literally and metaphorically going over the top. Um, the song fades as Rick Wakeman flies away and the planet behind, rather than him, explodes. And the final moment is of some sleeping figure snoring gently. Was it all a dream? Is the next shot in the video Patrick Duffy getting out of the shower? Um, Dallas fans out there. Uh, I had a thought about this at the end, because clearly he's got a sense of humor, the
Yeah.
person in this video, and I think he's not sure whether he wants to be Jack White or Jack Black.
Okay.
There's
I
a bit at the moment. Brainford did a bit of both because there is some sort of stuff on it that's kind of don't want to be harsh, but it's kind of a little bit sub White Stripes. That sort of stuff he did for that James Bond theme, which I couldn't stand. To be fair, I don't really judge you about it, but there's kind of a sound that he creates which is similar to that. But then when he's doing the other stuff, particularly when he flies away and explodes, it just made me think of Tenacious D straight
yes.
away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's a real fine balancing line because I thought that Tenacious D's first album was really good. And then it was totally shite afterwards. Pick a Destiny, that was awful.
Yeah.
And the joke had gone on too long and it was jokey rather than anything of worth.
Yeah.
So I would say for this, most of the parts of this worked for me and tick boxes. I think the bridgy part didn't for me and I didn't like it at all. But that said, it was really interesting. And had a nice retro sound to it as well.
Yeah.
And the sort of the main body of it really ticked all the boxes for me. So there you go.
Excellent. Well, I'm
Mixed bag,
glad you
but on the whole, it's nice
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed far more of it than you thought, that you questioned. So that's always great to hear. Yeah, it's funny your Jack Gray sort of analogy of some meeting somewhere in the middle between the two prolific Jacks. I've always thought of when I first heard this guy a few years ago and saw him because that's really what strikes you, especially how he went viral and how his sound exploded on the scene. It's kind of like you take a little bit of Zappa, you take a little bit of Bowie, you take a nice healthy scoop of the Lebowski, and then you take a little, bit of Jack Black, and this is what you get. That's sort of the fourth. But I guess you're right with the sort of garagey kind of guitar sound of Jack, White as well. You could inject into the mix. But yeah, there's a bit of the dude about him, while also being like a bit Jack Blacky. And obviously, you could tell by looking at him and hearing some of the glam stuff that there's some Bowie in there, at least a certain era of Bowie, and that there's also obviously facial hair alone, some Zappa going on in the mix too. But yeah, yeah, really interesting guy. He's quite a character, which I will try to illustrate through my notes here. So, Jeremy DeBarty is an American musician best known for performing under the moniker Steel Beans. DeBarty began Steel Beans in 2000, mainly playing gigs around Everett and the greater Washington area. So Everett is a part of Washington there in the Pacific Northwest. DeBarty then started gigging around the larger Pacific Northwest area in the early 2000s, but it wasn't until September of 2022 that a clip of him playing a frantic mix of psych rock and blues while wearing sunglasses and an open bathrobe went viral. That year, a video of DeBarty playing the guitar, the drums, and singing simultaneously to his song Molotov Cocktail Lounge went viral across social media. So he's playing the guitar with just the momentum and sort of resonance that's built on the first note while playing one drum and singing. And it worked. And it was like, wow, this is really, not only is it impressive to behold, but he's wearing all this shit that screams, I don't give a fuck about any of this, which makes it funny and ironic and definitely leans into the Lebowski thing. But go ahead.
So, because in this country we have like it was in the 70s, I guess, and 80s as well, one man bands they call them. And so they would be usually there were some that were really went over the top, but it would be a bass drum on the back
Yeah.
linked to the leg. So when they move their leg, it would
Yeah.
hit the bass drum. They'd even sometimes have cymbals strapped to their knees to slash together.
Yeah.
You'd have the harmonica rig set up there and the acoustic guitar. I don't know what else. I don't know, maybe bagpipes under your arm. I don't know. But yeah, that's how it would work. So,
Yeah.
so is he doing one hand on the guitar and one hand on the drum?
Yeah, yeah, like this, the guitar,
snare
the
drum
hand
or
on the
whatever.
neck is the one creating obviously the notes and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, once you start, you can kind of ride that out until you fully
Yeah.
stop, and then you're kind of screwed. You got to pick back up again, or strike it to create some of that resonance that you can then work with from there. But yeah, so he's doing a lot of this and singing into the microphone, all
Okay.
behind the kit. So yeah, yeah, fun. It's funny and good, so it's a
Yeah,
lovely
yeah.
mix. So DeBarty had earned a hard-earned 12,000 Instagram followers when he organized a month-long four-state tour in 2000 in a 2005 Honda Odyssey blue minivan to places he'd never played and where people had never heard of him. He said, I sent emails to hundreds of venues and most didn't get back to me, but a couple took a chance on me before all this happened. The catapult to fame that was a week before the tour sort of set everything on fire. It was a hot day, so he wore shorts and an open kimono to stay cool as he banged out Molotov Cocktail Lounge and posted it to Instagram, thinking it would be just another post with maybe a few dozen likes. But for whatever reason, that one took off, he said. Anderson Paak, Dweezil Zappa, and Lenny Kravitz, among other stars, liked and commented on the post and followed the page. Some lady on TikTok saw it and tagged me, according to him, and put it on her TikTok. Then some guy on Twitter reshared the video. His phone had blown up. The day it went viral on Twitter, someone messaged and was like, dude, there are memes of you, he said. The first week, I was just staring at my phone in disbelief, just laughing and crying and jumping around, not sleeping. In early 2023, it was announced that Steel Beans would support Tenacious D on their Spicy Meatball tour, playing a small run of shows in the United States and extended tour across Europe. His live performances are notoriously energetic and somewhat unpredictable. Because he plays all the studio instruments separately, his solo act turns him into a frenetic multitasking musician who handles double kick pedals, electric guitar, and vocals at the same time. Later in 2023, it was announced that Steel Beans would support, of all bands, Tool on their fall tour. His band name, Steel Beans, comes from him stealing a can of baked beans at a Safeway grocery store in 2006 after he spent the grocery money his mom gave him to get stoned with friends. These days, coffee is his drug of choice, according to DeBarty. I haven't smoked grass since before it was legal, he says. DeBarty hasn't quit his day job, though, mowing lawns, a business he started when his son was born 5 years ago. Nothing has changed, he said. I just keep writing songs every day like I have been. Only now he's doing this between fielding messages from fans and promoters while making music as usual in his home studio. I come from a background of labor work, being broke and having food stamps, he said. Music was always something that kept me on a path from making poor decisions that may have landed me in either jail or a regular day job with a future. I don't know which is worse. If you asked me 5 years ago, I would have said, I'm mowing my lawns, paying my rent, and writing songs every day. I've already made it. I was already content with being broke and doing my thing for so long, he added. He would also note, I love lawn care. Get out, drive house to house, have coffee and a cigarette, and listen to music. Get there, you get to mow, have your headphones on. At night, I record more songs and listen to it while I was mowing the next day, so I really never left the studio in that sense. DeBarty never had a lesson, but always around music. His grandparents, Daniel and Francine DeBarty, played in rhythm and blues bands such as the Jive Bombers. I started playing drums when I was 2 years old. My grandma put a drum set in front of me. I got into guitar in middle school, and I wanted to be like Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin. I started going to thrift stores to find vintage stuff before it was cool, like for 50 cents each. That was part of it. Dressing and feeling that way, aspiring to be an artist and songwriter and getting into the counterculture and music history. That was 22 years ago, and I'm still that same person. His traveling wardrobe is a black plastic bin stuffed with polyester garments and golden capes. His close friends, Sean Groda, a bass player, and Willie Marcia, a videographer, were with him on tour. They're the people who believed in me for a long time, DeBarty said. They were able to see the crazy thing happening to me. The tour had excitement on and off stage. We ran out of gas in the Tenderloin area of San Francisco where people are casing your van to steal your shit. The next week, we got stuck in Joshua Tree in the middle of nowhere and the wheels were spinning in the sand. And he added, a few days later, we were T-boned in Tempe, Arizona. DeBarty's driver's side of the van was bashed and the windows shattered. It was near the club, so he walked with a concussion and the show went on. A worker at the bar replaced the bent strut, and DeBarty drove back to Washington through the rain and snow. And all of this was captured in a documentary in the works for his channel on YouTube. Over the following weekend, he drove the battered van 14 hours, windows still missing, to a private gig at YouTube's San Francisco headquarters. After signing with Anderson Paak's Apeshit Records and Empire, he dropped a self-titled record in 2025 that received strong reviews for its raw, funky, psych rock sound. According to Anderson Paak, I'll be damned if he ain't the craziest motherfucker I've seen in my life. I'm excited to watch him bring back rock and roll and shake things up. The game really needs his energy right now. Steel Beam's self-titled record, co-released with the aforementioned Empire, documents the artist exploring his personality through a cracked and fractured lens, or maybe his few dozen different personalities through a perfectly intact lens. His album is full of honest performances and ideas that I may not be able to pull off, but that's the charm, he notes. Frankly, it's full of mistakes, which is what the world needs now more than anything. According to Mark Lejour of Flood magazine, the funky psych rocker Stowaway stirs as the project's first single, both looking back to the raw riffs of Crimson and paving the new way for a new generation of the 21st century schizoid rock. So, these lyrics. Homeward bound, I bid thee a farewell, stage left exit, breathless, take my bow. I'm the designated driver, I'm the stowaway of time and space, and I'm sent down from the sky above. You know it fell right onto your face. The anti-paradise, where you all choose to dwell. When the planet turns to ice, I'll defrost you in hell. Galactic feeling from total control. The setting sun like Ricardo. Its flow supernova approaching the globe. Wind me up, baby. Watch me explode. Show up to a sword fight with a gun. Plasma drones. Heads roll across a screensaver. No, I'm the designated driver. I'm the stowaway of time and space. And I'm sent down from the sky above. You'll know it fell right onto your face. The anti-paradise, where you all choose to dwell. When the planet turns to ice, I'll defrost you in hell. Galactic feeling from total control. The setting sun like Ricardo, its flow supernova. Approaching the globe. Wind me up, baby. Watch me explode. So, according to DeBarty, there's a difference to the therapy of writing a song about something you're going through and writing something where you are myopic to what it means, but it feels powerful. Then you listen to it a month later and you can figure it out. He adds, this way you're learning something about yourself and where you fit into the world instead of the other way around. I think this is one of those songs that it's better if I don't stigmatize it by saying what it's about in terms of lyrics. That would be putting a ceiling on it. He does note, however, that one wild guess is that the new single is about a court jester prophet sent to save planet Earth, but the timing is off by a mere 50 years. So, in a world dominated by apathy amid self loathing, he instead mows lawns and writes songs that subliminally and cryptically tell his story. So, there you have it. He's a really interesting, wild character. But he's also a pretty good songwriter, too. So, it all kind of becomes this cocktail of visual art slash humor. Obviously, auditory art in the form of some fun garage kind of glam rock stuff with obviously hints of psychedelia as well. So yeah, interesting guy doing his own thing, his own way, and I respect that a lot. I hate the days of bands compiled of members where two guys knew each other and the other two didn't never met them, and they just some record company puts them together and sticks them in a studio with an allotment of cash and time, and they generate some shit and it's all assembled in plastic. And this is organic of 20 years just going at it regionally, and then you post a silly video of yourself in the studio, and the next thing you know, you're touring all over the United States and, on tour with Tenacious D and Tool. It's a really interesting, cool story. So, good on him.
Yeah, it strikes me because there's another artist who sort of started that way as well as a one-man band, and that would be Mr. Billy Bragg. And he had all the get-up, and he had the amplifiers as well on his backpack.
Christ,
so he was playing an electric guitar, yeah. And also some sort of generator battery thing. So yeah, this is Billy Bragg if he if he happened to be in the film The Big Lebowski.
Exactly. This weird, quirky character in his own way, for sure. Just the idea, steal beans coming from stealing beans from a grocery store because you blew all your money on fucking weed is just come on. Yeah, he's an interesting character for sure. I'm really glad that you like this, for the most part, and that you enjoyed the listen and got maybe found yourself getting a chuckle or two out of it, John. So I appreciate your time, man.
Fair enough.
Guys out there in the listening audience, please let us know what you made of this track. Also, feel free to let us know what you made of the goofy ass video that accompanied it. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Also, please like, share, and or subscribe if you haven't done any or all of those things. We really do appreciate it, so thanks in advance. And hopefully, John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers on the next episode of The Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.